My dream is to go to Paris. I want to board that big old bird in the sky and let it take me away. All the way to Paris. That's what I thought was going to happen with my father on this vacation. However, my stepmother had other plans. She told me I'm going to stay home and do all the chores. So I told that vile woman this. I used to think it was a joke when people used to say nothing can replace a mother's love, and that no one would even care about you more than the way your mother would. People might make a different promise that they would do much more than your mother, but it is impossible. I grew up as the only child of my parents, and my family was one of the best, if not the best. My parents were so fond of each other that they became of envy of everyone in the neighborhood. I used to walk with my head held high because I have the best parents in the world. Christmas celebrations in my home is always top-notch. Chicken, varieties of drinks, assorted meat, local and international dishes are always in excess. Friends and family will come from different states just to celebrate Christmas in our sweet and loving home. They would always pray to either have a wife like my mom or a husband like my dad. Most time, my classmates were always jealous of the way my parents used to relate, because, well, they don't have that type of experience in their various homes. They're either living with their single mother, or the parents are divorced. I used to pray deep within me not to experience such because I don't think I'll be able to cope. Most times, I don't care because my parents are the perfect match. Their marriage was specially ordained by God. I don't know how to give the definite term to their marriage except to call it God's perfect institution on earth. My parents' 15 years marriage anniversary was commendable. Everyone came far and wide to grace the occasion, and it was one of the best days of our life. We could not hide our joy on this day, and everyone that attended the event could not hide theirs as well. The marriage anniversary was like a renewal of their marriage vows and reassurance of happiness, joy, understanding, and unlimited love till the end of time. My paternal and maternal grandparents were present, and I could see the joy in their faces that their kids were celebrating such an event. 15 years of living together in marriage and loving each other is not a child's play anyways. As the party progresses, my father called for the attention of everyone at the present, and he said he would like to make a toast on this special day. In his words, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to have every one of you here. Thank you for all your honors of invitations. Thank you for the rejoicingness with us. I would be forever indebted to God Almighty for blessing me with this beautiful, adorable woman who I can bodily address as the flesh of my flesh and bones of my bones. I'd also like to appreciate my darling wife for doing this with me. The journey, 15 years. It's been a roller coaster, but we scaled through. God blessed our marriage with a beautiful daughter, so beautiful and adorable just like her mom." Well, I was smiling sheepishly on my seat as my father was praising me. He then proceeded and said, "Everyone, permit me to make a toast. Kindly raise your glasses and let's drink. I would like to make a toast to long life, blissful home, many years of being married and staying with my beautiful woman no matter the situation. More children, because Kimberly still needs younger siblings." I shouted yes at the top of my lungs when he said this, and everyone laughed out loud. Well, 15 years of marriage rolled over to 17 years, and gradually things began to change. My daddy, who cannot do without coming home every day, now comes home like once or twice a week, without a tangible excuse, or where he went to. At first, my mom thought it was fine until it started getting out of hand, and she could no longer bear it. My peaceful and loving home has changed from what it used to be. My mom was not used to telling people about things that are happening in our home, so she kept it under wraps and to herself and was suffering in silence. She endured the pain, the sorrows, the tears, and the painful experiences. I could see that she missed the man she used to know. There were nights that she would go to bed crying silently because she would not want to hear her cries. She endured and endured and endured until one fateful night that she decided to confront my father for the first time in almost 18 years. My dad came home that fateful night after being away from home for close to 2 weeks. He came home and went to his room, and he dashed out with a suitcase in hand. Probably just came back to pick up a few things and was heading out again per usual. My mom decided to confront him, to know of his whereabouts, as well as to challenge him about his recent behaviors. That night, my father shouted at my mom and pushed her to the side. He left the house immediately without considering if he's caused damage to mom or not. I rushed to mother to console her, and I helped her walk to the couch. It was already late, so I could not take her to the hospital, because I don't know how to drive. So, the next morning we did go to the hospital boarding a public transport. She was treated, and at the hospital the doctor told her to be careful with whatever she does, because she has a higher tendency of having internal bleeding if she should slip on the tiles again. That was the lie she told the doctor just to cover up the deeds of Dad. My mom endured this emotional pain, countless nights of years in silence for 3 good years. Later, we got to know my dad was seeing another woman and would soon get married to her. On the day of my parents' 20th marriage anniversary, everyone was expecting a big party, as usual, but reverse was the case. Families, friends, and colleagues called my mom to congratulate her on the occasion of their marriage anniversary, and some of them even asked about the venue of the event this year. But Mom told them that there's no party because my dad's out of town due to his busy schedule. Before evening, my mom received a letter from the court. Well, you might guessed it. Divorce papers from my dad, which she must sign before the week runs out. My mom was sad throughout the week and could not even go to work. Well, I'll be honest with you here. She summoned the courage and signed the divorce papers, after trying to no avail to plead with my dad. The court verdict was in favor of my father, and he was to take custody of me. My mom's to visit us, or I visit her only on the weekend in 3 weeks. 1 month after the divorce case, my dad walked with his new bride down the aisle. I was present at the wedding because my father insisted that I must not be absent at his wedding day. During this time, I was just 19 years old. My stepmother was the opposite of my mom. Not beautiful. She looks unkempt, and her makeup of the heading was bad. I noticed she was already carrying my dad's child on the wedding day because of her tummy. I was really surprised that my dad could do such a wicked thing to mom. She gave birth to a baby boy 3 weeks after the wedding, and the boy was named John. My dad ensured John and his mom enjoyed luxuries of life. He would get them whatever they requested for as long as he could afford it. He wouldn't hesitate to spend his last dime on little Johnny. Being the only girl in the house, my stepmother would always give me hectic chores to execute. I would sweep the whole house, mop the floor, scrub the toilet, do the dishes, as well as prepare meals for the day. She'd always sit on the couch watching her favorite shows. Whenever she's not watching the TV, she would either be painting her nails or she'd be sleeping. I used to attend John as a nanny. I would change his diapers, feed him, bathe him, rock him in his rocker, and then put him to sleep at night. On some days during the middle of the night, whenever John's crying, she'd call me to attend him, and then she would go back to sleep. I grew so fond of John, and I took good care of him with everything in me, and everything within my capacity. As for my dad, he dares not question the unruly behaviors of his new wife, because he might not live long to give an account of what she would do to him. This is something my mom has never done in their 20 years of marriage, and I'm very sure she would not try such if they were still together to this day. I knew my dad would be regretting his actions, but he dared not say it out because of the tigress he married. I do not know the perfect definition to give their marriage. This woman was treating my dad like a piece of crap. I was happy about what she was doing to my dad, and at the same time was not really happy, because my dad cannot be replaced. He'd always remain my father till the end of time. When John clocked 1 year old, my stepmother threw a lavish birthday party for him. Everyone that was present could testify that the party was too big for a 1-year-old's birthday. People drank, danced, and partied to their satisfaction. Foods and drinks were in excess. Some people even took their leftovers home. She ordered 6 expensive outfits for herself from Turkey in preparation for the birthday party. And well, she wore all these outfits on her son's birthday just to show off to her friends. As for the birthday celebrant, she ordered about 10 new wares for him, just for the birthday boy. She ensured that John changed into new outfits at least every 2 hours. She spent so much of her son's birthday party and all expenses were paid for to my dad. In my mind, I was hoping and praying that this woman would not be the end of my father. I was praying that he would not go bankrupt because she's spending his money lavishly and doesn't care whether the money's increasing or decreasing. My dad was looking older than his age, so I took it upon myself to ensure he comes back to his normal shape. I prepare his meals and I would still pack lunch for him to take to work. He was always happy and would utter words of prayers anytime I gave him his lunch pack. During this time, I was already in part 3 of college and well, despite everything, I still combined the stress I face at home with my academics and none as affected the other. My dad was pleased with my academic performance. He would always say it whenever he was at his friends'. I knew he missed my mom, but he knew it's too late to mend stuff. The verdict of the court must stand, and besides, he's now married to a monster. When John was 3 years and 3 months, his mom became pregnant again, and the stress in the house became a double portion. The stress became so tiring that I could no longer bear it. As for my mom, she was doing so well, still unmarried. She faces her career squarely and was doing great on her own. I used to visit her, as stated by the court. 1 weekend in 3 weeks, and I would say this is the only time I used to rest. I would tell her about my plight and every other thing I'm facing in my father's house, and she would cry and cry and cry. I would be the one to console her, and I would tell her not to worry, that I would move in with her as soon as I'm done with college. My mom would prepare different meals throughout the weekend, and we would have a mother-daughter time together. Her heart used to leap for joy whenever we were together, and I could not hide my joy. My stepmother gave birth to another baby boy when her first child clocked 4 years of age. My father, well, you could say he was the happiest man in earth on this day. He felt fulfilled after giving birth to 2 strong boys. I could see in his face joy as he shed tears. He walked into the hospital holding flowers and gifts in his hand just to present it to his wife who just gave him another boy. Well, I knew this would be an additional stress for me. Taking care of John and attending to all the house chores, including the meals, takes all my energy, and now another child's here again. I could literally term it as another baby, another stress. Just like I've seen a vision when she gave birth to her second son, Jesse. It was the same way that I pictured it. I was coping with school, taking care of 2 boys, as well as dealing with numerous house chores. Since my dad got married to my stepmom and since John turned 2 years, it was a normal routine for father to take us abroad for holiday. So this year, we were all eager and looking forward to traveling abroad to see our vacation this year. I was the happiest because I knew I would be free from stress, at least for a couple of weeks. We all planned to go to Paris for our next vacation. I'd written lists of things that I would buy as soon as I got to Paris. My dad had already told me that his vacation would be shopping sprees and fun-filled as well, so I was eager and anxious. I'd already told my friends that I would be traveling to Paris with father and stepbrothers as well as my stepmom. They all told me to get 1 or 2 things for them, and I promised to try my best to get them everything they wanted. I should be able to get something for them, at least. I've been dreaming and waiting for the day I would go to Paris since I was a little kid. As a kid, I loved reading about Paris. I know of all fascinating things there are. I could not wait to set my feet on the land of Paris. I've learned about the Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe, and Cathedral Notre Dame de Paris, Pont Alexandra, 111 among others. I was also eager to communicate in French languages. My dad had made plans for traveling and every other thing were in place. Well, he had booked a flight for each and every one of us as well and had made arrangements with a traveling agent in Paris to help with us be comfortable. However, when everything was being planned, my stepmom did not say anything about going with us or not. I wasn't even sure if she appreciated the efforts of Dad in ensuring that we would all have a wonderful holiday together as one big old family. Her new baby grew so fast, and she was so glad about this because, well, he does not used to stress him like his elder brothers. Jesse loves to eat, and whenever he's fed to his satisfaction, he would not disturb anybody. No one would hear a word from him. He would either be sleeping peacefully and soundly or just be playing. Everyone was glad about Jesse's rapid growth and development. Just a few days before our departure to Paris, my stepmother announced to us at dinner that she's not going. My father was surprised, at the same time disturbed. Instantly, he lost his appetite and walked out of the dining room. He walked slowly into his room and shut the door behind him. My stepmother doesn't care anyways. She continued her meal and ordered me to clear the plates and do the dishes as soon as I finished eating. Who am I to complain? I did as I was instructed. I felt I would be free from her a couple of weeks when she declared that she would not be going for the vacation with us. Little did I know that she had something else in store for me. My stepmother told me the following morning that I would not be going to the vacation either, because there's no one to help her with the house chores. She told me that my father would take care of Jesse and John, that I should not even bother about it. I thought it was just a joke or a prank until the D-Day, that I could not find my flight ticket. I pleaded with her to let me go because I would not want to miss the fun for anything. Well, she refused bluntly. And at the end of everything, it was only my dad, my stepbrothers, that went for their lovely vacation. I had the worst experience of my life when my dad and stepbrothers were in Paris. I overworked myself till I felt sick. I could not even visit my mom. I was sad and at a point was becoming depressed. My dad and stepbrothers came back after spending 5 beautiful, glorious days in Paris. Well, I was glad they came back earlier than expected. When my friends were asking for things I promised them, I replied to them that my stepmother did not allow me to travel to Paris, so she wanted me here for the chores. When my dad came back, I could not hide my pains and tears because I missed the trip due to the actions of my wicked stepmother. I had a thought within me that I would take her revenge, and I won't let her go scot-free. She must pay for her wrong deeds. I said these words loud and clear. I could not figure out the type of revenge I would take on her, but I was very sure I would do something. One evening, I overheard her conversations with her friends on how they would be going for the party. She complained to her friends that she does not have enough money, but she would steal from the money from my father. I'd already informed my dad of her plans. I barged into the room as she was trying to keep the money under her gown. I shouted at the top of my voice, and Dad rushed into the room. My dad told me that his money has always been missing, but he doesn't know who or exactly what's stealing it. Well, I was so happy I found my revenge by making her feel embarrassed and being tagged as a thief anywhere she goes. So I get it. At the end of the story, OP got the revenge by basically labeling the stepmother as a thief. That's not what bothered me in the story. It's good enough revenge, I guess. But what really bothered me, the father knew how much that OP wanted to go to Paris, and that father did not allow it. He let stepmom dictate OP, and OP is not even of biological meanings to this stepmother. She knew how bad OP wanted to go, and the father was such a floor mat that he got stepped all over and did not even listen to OP's cries. Guys, let me know your thoughts, your feelings, everything you have to say about this story. Drop it in the comment section, and I will remind you You can find my other 2 channels in the description below. There's direct links to all those, and I do upload daily videos. So if you want to see some more inheritance dramas, Karen stories, you name it, you can go find that on my other 2 channels. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and just so you know, it's cool to be kind.